Your Excellencies, Honourable Ministers present here today, for all the representatives of the national energy companies in Africa, to all my colleagues in the industry, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I mean, it's truly an honour for me to talk to you today at this latest edition of Africa Energy Week. Now, when we talk about energy in Africa, one thing becomes immediately clear. People here deeply value energy, because energy is not just about the power, it's about progress, it drives development, it fuels businesses, and indeed it transforms lives. And at TotalEnergies, we share that same conviction. So we believe that access to energy is fundamental to human development, and I think the evidence is undeniable. Wherever the energy availability per capita increases, the Human Development Index also rises. Yet, despite that, as we've heard already this morning, some 600 million people across Africa, don't yet have access to electricity. And I think this gap is a reminder of the enormous task that is ahead of us all in the industry. And I think this task is going to be even bigger. I don't know if you saw the report from the International Energy Agency last week about field decline rates. So now the IEA say that the industry needs to invest $570 billion a year to meet the growing demand. And in fact, 90% of this investment is needed just to stand still, just to offset the natural decline in our fields. And if we don't make that investment, the world would lose the equivalent of Brazil and Norway every single year in terms of production. So it recognizes that new oil and gas projects are not optional, they are essential, otherwise energy security is at risk. So here lies Africa's unique opportunity. The continent is not only rich in reserves, it's also rich in potential. So by leveraging its resources, Africa can play a decisive role in meeting the world's growing energy needs while also driving its own development. In fact, this is the very purpose of this conference. So it's to position Africa as a global energy champion. And yes, Africa today has the chance to place itself at the very center of energy security and diversification for decades to come. Now, at TotalEnergies, we have been part of the African energy story for nearly a century. Since the 1920s, we have grown alongside this continent from the first exploration wells in the 1920s to today's large-scale transformative projects. We're deeply rooted in Africa, and we're proud to be one of the largest international energy companies on the continent. And I would like to share just a few milestones that reflect our commitment across the continent and the value we place in building lasting, meaningful partnerships. So let's start with exploration. Africa is at the heart of our exploration strategy. Around half of our exploration and appraisal budget is focused here, and much of our prospective resources are on this continent. And the last few weeks have been great for the company. We've added 7 new offshore licenses in Congo. We're preparing to drill the promising Nzombo prospect. And as already mentioned, in Liberia, where we signed for 4 blocks recently, and in Nigeria. Now, in Nigeria, we're proud to be the first international company in over a decade to be awarded an exploration and licensing through a bid round. And I would like to thank our Nigerian partners attending this event. I think this achievement is a testament to our strong collaboration and trust with the authorities in Nigeria. And okay, just between you and me, because we're here in Cape Town, I think we'd also like to tell you we have some really, we see some real potential as well in South Africa. We have some exciting prospects, and we're eager to see a more streamlined and efficient authorization process, I think that's already been touched upon, so that we can move forward together and deliver much needed energy security to this great nation. So turning now to our ongoing projects, let me highlight 2 milestones. In Angola, we're still growing, and we recently started production from the Begonia and Clove Phase 3 fields, adding 60,000 barrels per day to our production there. And we also launched the Caminho FPSO project last year, which is going to open up a brand new basin in Angola, due to start up in 2028. In Uganda and Tanzania, we have the Tilenga and ECOP projects that are set to start up next year. And these projects are a showcase to our commitment to local development. So it's with a real sense of pride that I can tell you today that we've created more than 20,000 direct jobs on those two projects, and many, many more indirect jobs coming from the revenue they're generating. So I think all these achievements, demonstrate the same principle. TotalEnergies is committed to Africa for the long term. We're not just operating here, we're growing in Africa, we're investing in its people, and we're going to help the continent realize its full energy potential. But in addition to delivering projects, we also want to reduce our emissions. And over the past few years, we've been working actively and efficiently on two critical fronts: reducing flaring and reducing methane emissions. Now, on flaring, a great example comes from Gabon, where we've recently completely eliminated routine flaring from our operations. And how do we do that? We just reworked some of our facilities, some piping and some compression, and now the gas goes back into the process, and it can be now exported and monetized. So, I mean, it just shows what can be done when you put your mind to it. Methane fugitive emissions is even more challenging because they're harder to detect, and obviously we know the greenhouse gas effect is stronger. So that's why this year we launched an ambitious program that by the end of 2025, we will deploy over 13,000 high-tech methane detection devices across all of our sites. So by the end of this year, we'll have permanent methane monitoring on all of our sites, which enables us to act when we find an issue. But then, as you've heard, Africa Energy Week is not just about oil and gas, it's about energy in all its forms, guided by the bold and ambitious motto, positioning Africa as a global energy champion. So, I mean, to some extent, that could be the motto for TotalEnergies. You know that we set a clear course for an ambitious transformation to become a multi-energy company, and this strategy is taking shape concretely, you'll see, also right here in Africa. And today, we are significantly contributing to the renewables expansion on the continent, with 1.1 gigawatts of capacity either under construction or already in operation, all across Africa, from South Africa to Uganda to Zambia and beyond. But clearly, the transition to lower energy carbon sources won't happen overnight, and Africa will need all of its energy sources to power its development. In particular, I think the growth of the gas industry can really help Africa close part of its energy gap, while at the same time stimulating industrialization on the continent. And in fact, another example, which again we saw earlier on this morning, is about how many countries in Africa have been actively promoting the use of LPG for cooking. It's not that well known, but it's a simple and it's a powerful way to improve health, to reduce emissions, and again to support local economies. And at TotalEnergies, we're proud to contribute to this effort with the ambition to give access to clean cooking technology for millions of people in Africa by 2030. So, to conclude, I would simply say that Africa Energy Week makes an ambitious promise. That's to support energy explorers and producers across the continent, to drive innovation that shapes the future, and to advocate for an environment where investment thrives so that Africa's energy sector and its people can fully benefit. So my wish is that everyone can put this promise into action this week. I hope each and every one of you can use this event to engage, to connect, to explore the opportunities ahead. As a Scot, I've always admired Nelson Mandela's words, that it always seems impossible until it's done. And in energy, we've seen this proven time and time again, and I'm confident that Africa's journey towards a just and sustainable energy future will prove it once again. So by working together with respect, with strong partnerships, TotalEnergies is committed to contributing to this journey. So Africa can shape its own future. Africa is opportunity. Africa is energy. Thank you very much.